even now when it comes to gatherings, whether it's a family event, I know for me, my energy is good for a couple of hours, maybe 3, but eventually I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to step away, give myself some space. Is putting yourself out there in dating a challenge because you're naturally introverted? I'm Daria, welcome back to Salt's YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about 4 ways to date as an introvert. And by the end of this video, I hope and pray that you are that much more confident to stepping out, putting yourself out there so that you can eventually meet the person that God has for you. And if you're extroverted and you're watching this video, this will definitely give you a sneak peek into what it's like to be an introvert. And I've seen it all the time where God brings opposites together. Sometimes he brings similar personalities together, but wherever you stand on, just know that you are made uniquely in the image of God. So subscribe to Salt if you have not already, and let's get started with the first one. 1, it's okay to be yourself. I am an introvert, and just to be clear on what that is, basically we recharge better alone. Sometimes larger crowds are not our thing, and it's not that we don't like people, but sometimes it can be a bit much. So just know that it is okay to be yourself in dating as an introvert. Don't feel like you have to act out of character. Don't feel like you have to put on a face and act outside of your personality. No, you have unique gifts and talents that God has given you, the same way that he's given to an extrovert. So don't feel like you're inferior. It may be challenging for you as opposed to someone who's just a natural people person and they like be around large crowds and they thrive off of that, right? They get their energy from that. But with you, you're like, okay, I don't mind people, I'm great, but I do have that need to be by myself sometimes to recharge, to refuel, and it's okay to be yourself. Maybe you need to, prepare conversation starters. Like you may not know where to start on a first date. You may not know what to ask. It's okay to prepare. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make a good first impression, but if you're going outside that line of where you feel like I have to act a certain way, I have to be a certain way, even if I know deep down it's not who I am, but it still gets their attention and they like me, do you really want to be in a dating context where again, you're not being yourself, and then it's not fair to the other person because they're thinking you're this one way, but it's a totally different thing. 2, leverage your interests. We may be more on the quiet side, some of us, but you have that one thing, maybe several things that interest you, whether it's hobbies, it could be related to maybe your favorite genre of music, maybe you love a certain type of movie, genre of movies, whatever that may be. See if you have something in common with this person as you're getting to know them in dating, and if you find common ground, there you go. That is another way for you to feel comfortable. That is another way for you to connect with them. So find out what their interests are and see if it falls in line with some of the things that you have an interest in. And if not, and you kind of see some differences, it's okay because you're not going to like everything. I like one certain type of movie. My husband prefers another certain type of movie. So me, I like the classics, the films that I love. Yes, I will watch modern films, but I really love the classic Hollywood era here in the States where movies were made in the 50s, 60s. My husband, not so much. He's like, okay, why would I want to watch a black and white movie? That's not my thing. But we have other things in common. So once I found and discovered that, I capitalized on that, realizing that, hey, we may be different in some other areas, but you can definitely leverage those interests to see what you and this other person have in common. 3, communicate comfortably, okay? It's all right to pace yourself. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. Yes, there is that delicate balance of stepping outside of your comfort zone, but you don't want to do so much to where you feel like you're overdoing it, right? So it's okay to pace yourself. If you want to start out with a text first before calling, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes I do that as a way to kind of build some rapport, and then if I do end up calling the person, I'm like, hey, did you get my text message? So it kind of breaks the ice for me just a little bit. Yes, challenge yourself. I'm not saying you have to stay in your little bubble. That's not the point here, but you know what works best for you and you know what is going to make you feel comfortable. So for example, if you're on the Salt dating app and you want to message back and forth a little bit before meeting this person in person, now I'm not saying stay on the app completely. You do eventually want to meet this person and interact with them in real time, face to face, but if you feel more comfortable messaging back and forth just a little bit, that is perfectly fine. That is something that I did with my husband when we first met on social media. We chatted back and forth a few times before we finally had a face-to-face Zoom call, and then later we met in person face-to-face where we got to know each other in real time. So I paced myself. I didn't do anything that felt uncomfortable. I was able to set the tone, and he was so gracious about it. And again, he just wanted to pursue me. That's the thing. The person, if they're truly interested in you, they will do what it takes to be with you. So that ties back into the first point of being yourself. But just know that you can communicate comfortably at your own pace. Don't feel like you have to overwhelm yourself. And then 4, set personal boundaries. As I mentioned earlier, it's okay to put yourself out there. Yes, challenge yourself, but you don't want to get to a point to where you're acting outside of character. Again, this is not about you trying to change who you are. God made you this way for a reason. And again, you have so many strengths, you probably have yet to discover them. But find that balance. It's kind of delicate. Sometimes you're not always sure, but there is a balance that you'll be able to find with time, and it may take trial and error, but there is a balance of, knowing your limits. Like, okay, I've reached my limit. I know when to, retreat and recharge. Like even now when it comes to gatherings, whether it's a family event, I know for me, my energy is good for a couple of hours, maybe 3, but eventually I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to step away, give myself some space, and my family respects that. So grateful for that. So again, it's kind of fine, that line there, but I think deep down we do know, okay, I'm holding back. I'm not putting myself out there like I know I could be. I'm allowing fear or hesitation, intimidation get the best of me, as opposed to being willing to step out, because you never know what God can do when you choose to step out. So comment below which one of these is you, if you are a fellow introvert or if you're an extrovert. Maybe this was some eye-opening tips that you gained, because maybe you're interested in someone who's introverted and you're getting to know them and you're kind of understanding that, okay, this is how they do things as opposed to you. But thank you all so much for spending this time with me. Subscribe to Salt's YouTube channel if you have not already, and I will see you on the next video. Have a good one. Bye.